Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Day one this week for Nevada Newsmakers, and we're going to Washington. Andy's got the rundown.
Sam, March the 3rd, there's no moon, and that was the first choice for the military to go to war against Iraq. We're not at war, but today we talk to U.S. Senator Harry Reid and find out the latest. We also find out about federal funding for Nevada. Will we get help on education? Will we get help on the war on terror? Sam?
Thanks, Andy. And today on the pundit panel, Bob Krell. We've also got Ken Lang. And on the barbed wire, it's Andy Barbano. It's all coming up on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
We've loosened our machines. We've given you the Gold Dust West Gold Rush Club, Reno's best slot club. You can win lots of jackpots. Play longer. Your points will add up faster than you think. Yeah, we're loose and we're not screwing around. See you at the Gold Dust West, south on Keystone, east on 4th.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV park.
When he was just a young boy, Ken Dillon laid back, looked up at the stars, and thought to himself, hey, this house could use a roof. Today, Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal offers a complete line of Firestone roofing products for any type of roof, from commercial to industrial and residential. With a Firestone roof from D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal, what's overhead stays overhead. Call Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal today for a free estimate. Yes, the technology sure has changed, but after all these years, Ken still enjoys playing with houses.
Feel it, the magic is everywhere. The action, the style, the food, the flair. Play with us, stay with us in Reno, say El Dorado, and live the excitement. El Dorado, Reno's shining star. Live the excitement.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Ande Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
A lot of developments in the past 24 hours in our nation's capital, and we're joined this morning by Senate Assistant Minority Leader, United States Senator Harry Reid. Welcome, Senator.
Hi, you guys.
Senator Reid, this was the day that, because there's no moon, that the military had said they'd like to go to war in Iraq. Clearly, we're not doing that. Clearly, there's a problem with Turkey. Where do we stand with the war in Iraq?
Well, I think the president is moving on. I think there will be a war. It's a question when it will be. And as I've said for the last couple of weeks, I don't think there's any doubt that we'll win the war. It's a question about whether we can win the peace.
Senator, more than the average number of National Guard is being called up in Nevada. What accounts for that?
Well, Nevada has always given a lot to the military. You know, we have heavy military installations. The Fallon Naval Air Training Facility is the Navy's #1 fighting facility for people who want to be airplane pilots in the Navy. That's where you get your PhD. That's where they teach you to land on carriers. And of course, Nellis Air Force Base is the same with the Air Force. These are large, large installations, some of the largest in the world. And then you have the Hawthorne Ammunition Depot. You've got now Indian Springs, where they're testing all those drones or unmanned flight vehicles. We've always given a lot. We have people who are really citizen soldiers who believe in the Guard and Reserve. They're willing to serve. We have large contingencies, and when wars come, they get called up now in this modern era more than any other time.
And so there's no particular reason why it's Nevada, it's just in general.
Yeah, Nevada, and we have some very, very specific groups that are needed. We have one contingency of guardsmen who are trained in taking care of prisoners of war. So they're called up. Every time there's a conflict, they're called up because whenever there's a war, there's going to be prisoners of war. So we have some very exclusive units who meet the demands of our national priorities.
Okay, Senator, going back to what you said earlier about it's not the war, it's what happens after the war. What happens, for example, with the Kurds? Are we going to protect them from Turkey?
We've done a real good job of protecting the Kurds now for many years. As you know, these are people who Saddam Hussein hates. He's gassed them in the past with chemical weapons. The Turks have had an ongoing battle with them, but there's been no over-border excursions on either side recently, so it's pretty calm. The Kurds have done very well with our protection. There are major cities there. As you know, as we speak, they're preparing at least 2 major airfields there to be used during the war. One of them was built by Saddam Hussein and then, of course, not used because we wouldn't let him, but we're now making that so our planes can land there. And with the Turks having turned us down, we're going to have to look at different ways of getting our troops in there. There was the expectation that as many as 50,000 troops, maybe 70,000 troops would be based in Turkey on a permanent basis, and their legislature, in effect, said no.
But they are going for another vote, though, aren't they, Senator?
Well, as of yesterday, they said there would be no vote. Our ships are still there, waiting offshore. As soon as we see them pull toward the Suez Canal, we'll know that the administration's given up on Turkey as being a base where we can launch things. Now, let me just say this. I haven't been a big fan of how Turkey has tried to maneuver things, get us to commit to $26 billion. But having said that, Turkey has been very, very good to us. That's the base at Incirlik is where we do our overflights. So for over half the flights that we do into Iraq come from that base, and they've let us do that for more than a decade now. So even though some are a little upset at Turkey for the way they've handled this request to help us, we have to recognize what they've done in the past.
Is it impractical for the Iraqi dissidents to want self-government after the war?
Well, the Iraqis, I'm sure they would like self-government, but they can't even agree among themselves who the leaders are. You talk about a bunch of people in disarray. It's the Iraqi dissidents. They are a troubled lot.
Yes, Senator. We're going to take a break. We'll come right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this time out.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo Free Checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. 7 award-winning dining choices. Experience the Atlantis Seafood Steakhouse tonight. Winner of Wine Spectator's Award of Excellence. The local choice for food and fun, Atlantis. Atlantis.
At Sushi Club, everybody's family. That's what makes dining here so much fun. The sushi is consistently better, the atmosphere is great, and the service is wonderful.
Welcome to the bigger and better Sushi Club. Come in for our delicious daily specials.
When you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Hi, may I please make an appointment?
What if you called for help and no one answered?
Hi, I'd like to make...
What if that help was for your unborn child? Lawsuit abuse has created a healthcare crisis, making it difficult for women to find doctors, driving good doctors out of Nevada and leaving us without healthcare. We're protecting the doctors of Nevada, and we need your help. Call 800-784-4730 now. Tell your legislator to support Keep Our Doctors in Nevada.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
Senator, I'd like to ask you a question about some domestic issues. We have this requirement, or this unfunded mandate, it appears to be, from the federal government, No Child Left Behind. And the bill by itself in Nevada is 161 pages. Are we going to get any help financially from the federal government for this?
When I spoke to the state legislature in Nevada, I indicated to them that one reason they're having financial problems, the state of Nevada, is because of the unfunded mandates that have come from Washington. Number one is Leave No Child Behind, is leaving lots of kids behind. And then, of course, the homeland security issues. There's absolutely no question that there isn't enough money to do all this legislation requires. We, in Washington, were supposed to supply the money. The president agreed with us that we would supply the money. But after the bill was signed, he hasn't been forthcoming, and there's a lot of things that are mandated by virtue of this legislation that the various school districts throughout Nevada simply don't have the means to take care of it. And then, of course, as you know, to in effect pile on is the requirements we have here in Washington relative to kids with special needs, the handicapped. And the state of Nevada, through its various school districts, are suffering a great deal because we were supposed to supply about 40 cents on a dollar for every one of those kids, and we haven't even come close to meeting that.
Well, Senator, is there anything that can be done about this?
Yeah, we should do what we said we would do, and that is provide the money to the school districts for this. The state of Nevada is hurting, whether you're talking about the very, very large, fifth largest school district in America, the Clark County School District, or whether you're talking about Esmeralda County with just a handful of kids. They all need help. They all have requirements from this legislation to do certain things, and they simply don't have the means to do it.
Senator, you know we've been dealing with the medical malpractice issue here in the Silver State, and the doctors group have come out with a whole lot of accusations about doctors leaving the state. Lauren Malkovich with the Legislative Council Bureau put out a piece that somewhat argued with that position. And now yesterday, I'm holding up, I know you can't see it, but I'm holding up a full-page advertisement in the New York Times that says America needs a new system of medical justice. What are we seeing now on the national front?
I think you're going to see some things on a national level. I'm certainly going to weigh in. I'm going to meet with some doctors when I come home this month. But having said that, I do not believe that we should legislate nationally on this states' rights issue. There are lots of things we can do, and I'm going to do those things to help better quality of care. The doctors, you know, it's just a very small percentage of the physicians who create this problem, but they create lots of problems. We've seen from TV recently where one woman had her breast removed unnecessarily. A woman came to see me who had her jaw removed unnecessarily, and literally unnecessarily. They got the x-rays mixed up on these two women. But there are lots of cases at home in Nevada. They came to see me 2 weeks ago. So doctors who do things wrong should respond. But I'm going to really put out a full court press to help these physicians who have done nothing wrong. And there are a number of things we're going to work on. Number one is to make sure they have a better shot, an equal playing field, a level playing field with this very, very large business which is against their best interest, and that's the insurance industry. There are lots of things we can do, and I'm going to do everything I can. I think there's a lot of people of goodwill back here who recognize the doctors need some help.
Senator, you had spoken earlier about perhaps a bill to bring insurance companies back under the antitrust laws. Are you proceeding with that?
Yes, I'm sponsoring that legislation. I think it's important that after some 70-plus years, the very brief period of time that was supposed to be given insurance companies to get back on their feet during the Depression, they're back on their feet, and that's an understatement. They're bigger than most states' insurance companies are. And so I think they should be subject to antitrust laws just like any other business in America. There's no reason they should be able to sit down and conspire to fix prices and do other things. If any other business did that, they would be subject to civil and criminal penalties. The insurance industry should not escape that.
Senator, let's go back abroad here. The capture of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed of Al-Qaeda. How big a dent does this make in their organization?
Oh, I think he's a big fish. I think it's going to help us a lot. And I think the one thing that I want to say, and I haven't heard it said, is how much we should appreciate Pakistan's cooperation. This was a joint effort by our security people, FBI, CIA, and also those people in Pakistan. There's a lot more needs to be done. I personally believe that Osama bin Laden is in Pakistan, and I think that we have to be more aggressive going into that northeastern tier where some believe most of these people are.
So you still believe Osama bin Laden is alive?
Oh, I sure do, yes.
I've got one more foreign policy question for you briefly. North Korea, how concerned should we be?
I think we should be very concerned. If you're concerned about Iraq, you should be very, very, very concerned about North Korea. There is no imminent danger with Iraq. You know, I think that there's going to be something done, and I support that. I just hope that we are able to accomplish something when the war is over. But there is an imminent danger with North Korea. They are producing, as we speak, materials that can go into making nuclear weapons. What I don't want is for them to get in the business of having their #1 cash crop, plutonium, where they would sell it to third world nations. They would sell this stuff to these very evil people who are trying to do damage all over the world. It's a very destabilizing thing that they're doing. It would affect not only that region but the whole world, and I think the Bush administration must be more engaged in what's going on there. It's more serious than the situation in Iraq.
Senator, thank you so much for spending this time with us today.
We appreciate it, Senator, and we'll be right back. Thank you, and we'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this timeout with the pundits.
Take a break and treat the family to breakfast, lunch, or dinner at Tamarack Junction. Enjoy pasta night on Wednesdays, Mexican on Thursdays, and seafood on Fridays. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amani Ranch Parkway.
When he was just a young boy, Ken Dillon laid back, looked up at the stars, and thought to himself, hey, this house could use a roof. Today, Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal offers a complete line of elk roofing products for any type of residential roof. With an elk roof from D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal, what's overhead stays overhead. Call Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal today for a free estimate. Yes, the technology sure has changed, but after all these years, Ken still enjoys playing with houses.
Today's lesson, another reason to take the Gold Rush Club Card Challenge. With the Gold Rush card, you really have 3 cards in one. Use your cash back. You still keep your comps and drawing tickets. Use your comps. You still keep your cash and drawing tickets. And with your drawing tickets, you could win thousands in cold hard cash every week and still keep your cash back and comps. Does your club add up? Graduate to the Gold Rush Players Club. It's the smart thing to do. The Gold Dust West, south on Keystone, east on 4th.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV park.
At Tamarack Junction, you can take advantage of fabulous food around the clock. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, give the oven and yourself a rest. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amani Ranch Parkway.
Now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
Time for the pundits section, and our pundits today, all the way down on the right-hand side of the table, but on your screen left, is Andy Barbano, columnist with the Sparks Tribune, Ken Lang, who's with the Nevada State Education Association, and for the first time on our program, also Bob Crowell, and he is a lobbyist, and he lobbies for various groups, including utilities like Sierra Pacific and Nevada Power, and Anheuser-Busch, 7-Eleven, trial lawyers, the State Bar. He's also a member of the Carson City School Board. And before we get to that, though, I just want to follow up on one thing that we didn't have a chance to follow up with the Senator on, which was kind of his disconnect with what happens in Iraq after the war, if we're actually going to be able to accomplish something.
Well, we don't really know, and some people thought it was slightly arrogant of the president to give a speech saying, here's what's going to happen in Iraq when the war is over, when the war hasn't even started yet. You know, the president's now saying he's going to bring democracy to Iraq. Does Iraq want democracy?
Boy, and it'll be an interesting game if that one is actually played. Ken, I want to start with you. We had a show on the other day where the Chancellor of the university system was here with Regent Rosenberg, and they were talking about the cost of remedial classes for kids going into the university system to get caught up, and apparently we're graduating our kids from high school, yet they're not ready for the university system. What gives?
Well, you know, there's two really key points here that lead to that outcome. First is that our per pupil spending in Nevada is 44th in the country, about $1,400 below the national average. Now that does a couple things to us. First of all, it drives us to class sizes that are the 5th highest in the country. We have class sizes across the state, 43 kids in middle school, you're upwards of 40 kids in English classes at the high school level. And ultimately, some of those kids just don't get the kind of instruction that they need and they deserve because we don't have the materials and supplies. We're out recruiting and trying to retain teachers. In Clark County, half of the teachers have under 5 years of experience. You know,
actually what they said was that students graduating, even at the top of their class, that there was a gap between what they knew graduating and what you need to know in your first year of college.
Allow me to disagree and agree with you at the same time. First of all, yeah, there are students of all grade point averages that need what we used to call bonehead English when they get to college, but that's always been the case. Governor Dudley Do-Right and me and Jerry Tarkanian are all products of the greatest educational system in the history of the world in California in the 50s and 60s before Ronald Reagan ruined it. And even when the California educational system was the greatest in the world, there were high school graduates who qualified to go to the California State University system taking bonehead English and remedial classes. You are not going to get rid of bonehead, and you cannot blame the current educational system for producing students that can't hack it on the college level, because that's always the case. There's always going to be some people that need some patchwork before they get to the college level.
Well, the other key is to have...
Well, hang on a second. Excuse me one second. So what do you want to do? Build a third tier here in the middle? You know, like an appellate court in between the school system and the university? Why can't we match everything out?
That's what Hooterville State and Henderson's for, right?
Bob, you sit on a school board. Do we send kids to the community college for 2 years and then on to college? Is that how it's supposed to work?
I don't know about that. I think there's some great opportunities between the relationship between community college and local school districts. But you know what, my take is that I think the schools do a pretty good job of bringing their kids along in the curriculum that we have. I will tell you that in Carson City, and it's probably the same way throughout the state, we have some severe problems in bringing our kids up to speed in math. And if that's what we're talking about, I think the local school districts could do more to focus on math and math requirements and help our kids get along, and that will go a long ways towards stopping or towards eliminating the need to take the bonehead or the remedial courses. Because in one sense I agree with Andy. We're not going to get rid of those courses at the college level. I mean, no matter what you do, you're going to have that because it's a different environment. When you walk out of a high school, even though Carson City's high school is 2,700 kids and probably the size of a small university, you walk out of that and you walk into a large school system, it is a huge jump.
And the basic fallacy of the school system to this very day is that all kids are round pegs that can be fit into a round hole, and you can be marched through 12 years of the same education and you'll come out the same on the other end. No, learning is not linear. Children learn differently, and you can't expect schools to do all these different things on top of teaching kids to read, write, and learn.
That's what we're trying to
I want to talk about this bill, the unfunded mandate from the Bush administration, No Child Left Behind. Ken, could you hold up that?
Well, that's exactly what this bill does.
Can you hold that up, please, so people can see?
161 pages of wonderful, entertaining reading. It represents what we need to do in Nevada to align our education statutes to what has been prescribed or forced on us by Washington.
And if we don't comply with what's in this bill, what happens?
We lose federal funding.
We're not getting any, though, from what Senator Reid said.
You know, we're so starved for cash that the amount of money that does come from Washington is important.
And the other thing, I'm going to jump in here. The other thing that happens there is that money issues aside, No Child Left Behind, even though it's got some great ideas behind it, will place a stigma on certain schools and certain segments of our population. Put aside money, and by that I mean if you're a school that has not made yearly progress, or adequate yearly progress, you're going to be on that list of an unsatisfactory school. And if you're the population group, either it's Asian, Hispanic, Black, Caucasian, whatever population group you are that has failed, that has made that school fail to make adequate yearly progress, that group is going to get targeted. Not to mention, the teachers in that school are going to be declared to be what I think the word is unqualified, or not highly qualified teachers.
Okay.
It's difficult.
Okay, we got about 30 seconds. You broke some news in the column this weekend.
Yeah, I'm surprised nobody's got it yet. Ken, maybe you're part of this. There's going to be a new AstroTurf group created to support the Governor Gambling Casino Endorsed Tax Plan. It's going to be called Nevadans for Tax Fairness, and they have been already at work at the Reno Hilton soliciting and suggesting that employees of the Reno Hilton sign this petition endorsing the governor's tax plan, which lets gaming off scot-free. But it's called Nevadans for Tax Fairness. They'll be on television shortly, so Sam, go get their budget. You don't owe me a commission on this one.
Any comments on this, gentlemen? Are you aware of this?
No.
I believe Culinary is circulating some kind of petition. I didn't know there was a formal name on the coalition in support of it.
We're out of time. We'll be right back after this timeout.
If you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club. Year after year voted the best place for sushi. 11 chefs on staff to serve you. Better ingredients for consistent high quality. And lots of room, so bring your friends. Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Feel it, the magic is everywhere. The action, the style, the food, the flair. Play with us, stay with us in Reno, say El Dorado, and live the excitement. El Dorado, Reno shining star. Live the excitement.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, consistently voted Reno's best buffet by locals. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch.
Atlantis.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
So tomorrow we move from education to justice.
Right, we have the Attorney General Brian Sandoval and Bernie Anderson, Chairman of the Assembly Judiciary Committee.
It'll be another hot show. We'll see you tomorrow.